Recording, and here we go. And good morning, everybody. I'm Bryn Bruner with MindSpark Branding, where I'm completely committed to helping business owners raise their game by developing brands that help you convert, connect, and stand out. I'm here with Marsha O'Malley of MindSpark. That's me. How many times are we going to do that? Of Mindful Media Services. Marsha, go ahead and jump in and introduce yourself better than I just did.
Hi there. I'm a video specialist and I'm the owner of Mindful Media Services, and I help businesses grow their business through video, get their message out in a real big way.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and today we're really excited to talk to you guys about Facebook Live, which is the newest kid on the live streaming block. And we've been seeing Facebook Live roll out, you know, it seems like it's gone from the coasts in. It seems like everybody now should have Facebook Live, and there's just a lot of really exciting stuff that are going on it. So Marsha, let's just jump in and talk about what is Facebook Live and why is it such a big deal?
Sure. Facebook Live is the ability through your Facebook platform to go stream video completely live in the moment to, on your newsfeed. And the thing that's so exciting about it is that we have had options, for a couple of years now to be able to do something similar, but nothing on Facebook where we've got so many people. I mean, 1.6 billion users, I think, is what the latest numbers are. So that's why it's a big deal. We have an opportunity personally to connect with, family and friends, obviously, but Facebook is also a place where marketers have really honed in on using it for growing businesses. So this whole live streaming video element is going to escalate it dramatically. It already has. But
it's exciting because I feel like with just like this little thing that we all have, it's like having our own personal TV station.
Absolutely.
We can go live at any minute. Oh, not that we're saying that you ought to go live at any minute. There's some planning involved, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But the ability to connect with our people right here in the spot is so exciting. Someone's just trying to jump in here, so we'll wait and see if they can do that. So Facebook's Live is now out on everybody's mobile device. And Marsha, do you want to just show us where it's accessed on your phone, and I'll put up on the same time? Everybody should see that.
Hold on a second here.
While you're looking at that, we know that you can access Facebook Live through your own status feed, through groups that you're on or that you manage, and probably a few other things. But basically, you'd go live by clicking on your own, like what's on your mind, that status bar. And then there's a little thing down here that you can see that looks like the wireless symbol. And that's where you just touch it to go live. So that's all there is to it. I mean, as far as technology is concerned. So do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, that's perfect. I was just going to show it to you on my tablet, and then just found out that it's not showing up there. So let's not go there.
So Facebook Live has been mostly on phones and tablets, and now some people are able to get onto it with their desktop.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a few people that are still trying to get on here today. A little bit of connectivity issues, and of course, right? We had a connectivity disaster last time.
We understand it. We understand it. Well, the thing I think you guys need to know about Facebook Live is that, like all of these emerging technologies, every day they're making changes to it, and I mean that literally.
Right, we're all in beta land, huh?
When I started doing research on Facebook Live, even just a month ago, the changes that have happened are pretty dramatic. I mean, all of a sudden, they've come up with a way for you to be able to do a Facebook Live with a drone. And
fun.
I'm trying to think of some of the other exciting newsfeed items that came through, but just know that there's going to be all kinds of things rolling out over time. And at this point, just about everybody in the world has access to it. Most people don't know it because they've never really looked and haven't paid attention to it. And it's not like Facebook tells you that much about it. They just are. I think what they're really relying on is that viral messaging to get people to know about it. So that's why it's kind of fun that we get a chance today to come and talk to you about it.
But here's the other thing. Yeah, this is new technology, but we're not super saturated with Facebook Live yet. There's plenty of room for you to get in here and use this to your advantage.
It
So
is.
especially if you're a person that's just comfortable talking to people live, and chatting face to face, this is a really good venue for you. CJ, I saw you just joined. Welcome. I mean, you'll be able to take Facebook Live, and it made me think of, the drone comment that you made me think of people on their GoPros, right? It's on my helmet, it's on my skate, on my surfboard, anywhere. If we sort of apply that thinking to where can you talk about your business with people, it just opens up all sorts of new opportunities.
It totally does.
And it's
actually,
exciting.
That kind of leads to, one of the things we wanted to talk about. How does that differ from other platforms that are out there?
Mm-hmm.
And GoPro, interestingly enough, has just been integrated with a platform called Periscope. That's the one that Twitter
right.
has. And it's so interesting to see how, I don't know. I always figure out
kind of the partnerships that are formed up.
And how did that partnership happen? Like, who was out snowboarding one day with the GoPro owner, and decided, okay, well, let's hook that up with Periscope and make sure that works.
Right. Makes perfect sense, right? We all want
Zuckerberg
that.
wasn't there at the time, so it didn't happen in Facebook Live.
So speaking of Zuckerberg, you picked up on something that was going on yesterday. Tell us about that.
Oh my gosh. I was so excited. I was just in the middle of doing some work on my computer, but of course I keep my Facebook application open, and I got a notification that one of the people that I follow was on live. Her name is Mari Smith. She's a Facebook expert. I thought I'll go see what she's up to. Well, she was just letting everybody know that she was about to go on to a webinar. She didn't really have a lot to say, but she wanted everybody to know that Mark Zuckerberg had gotten the crew on the space station to go live on Facebook. They were incredible. Live feed. Now they have live streaming capabilities for that crew, 3 or 4 different streams that you can see, some on Blab, some of them are on, other platforms, but there he was talking to the crew on the space station.
So this is so cool for so many reasons, and not just the cool factor, but it's just like this, wow, like what we can do. We could go live and we could text with the guys up in the space station. So it gives us access not only just to people that are influencers in our own business, but people who are out there in culture, making things happen right now and joining in, participating in it, engaging with people at a really high level.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a lot of celebrities, of course, who are going to be using this, but there's also, business influencers that we all can follow. And I know that you just mentioned Mari Smith.
Yes.
There's another one that you turned me on to, which is Guy Kowalski, who's going live more frequently, and you can jump in there. It's like, I talk to people on my Blab Labs. It's like, this is an opportunity to actually talk to people at the top of their game, one-on-one, in person, whether you're chatting, here in Blab, or you're adding your comments to their Facebook feed, you're right there with them. And as a business owner, this is golden. This is the biggest golden ticket that we can imagine, to be right there with our people, because the name of the game is engagement and creating those kind of intimate connections that lead to increased know, like, and trust. We want them to know us. So here we are chatting with them. We want them to like us. So here we are being who we are. And that leads to relationships that can go anywhere.
Exactly. And just like you said, the like, know, and trust factor. I mean, there's nothing like video unless you're absolutely sitting next to someone face to face to make that intimate connection. And this live streaming element is just escalating that connection.
It's funny because I help people a lot of times with language, and you help them with language, and how do you translate that into video. But let's be honest, most of us aren't really writers by trade. We're wired to connect with our body language and our eyes and our expressions and how we really kind of just are in the world. And these live streaming platforms, whether it's Blab or Facebook Live or Periscope or any of the others, it lets us be who we are with our people.
Well, it gives you an opportunity from, the presenter's standpoint to have a nice informal setting where you don't have to, have gone, and gotten totally gussied up, been in a studio and, produced this real highfalutin, video and lots of editing and, complicated things that take place. This is just boom, you're there. And people expect imperfection in that process.
Right.
If you're too perfect, then they start wondering, who the heck is this person?
Right.
and that's where you lose the trust.
Well, when we talk a lot, the authenticity is big. Everybody knows that they need to be real in the world. But the why of that, it all comes back down to that emotional connection that we make people. And since buying is always starting from an emotional place, this is accelerating all of that. It's very exciting.
It is. And so, can I just talk a little bit about some of the ways that businesses are using it?
Yeah, but before we do that, I want to just invite anybody that's here on this Blab to go ahead and jump in. We've got 2 hot seats that are open.
Yes.
And the way that Blab works is you can join us by typing in comments on the chat bar over there. And good morning and welcome to CJ and Christian and Steve and Vincenzo and Jane. We're all glad you're here. So you can join by chat, but you can also jump on one of these open hot seats and just engage with us on the camera. So go ahead, Marcia.
Great. Well, a couple of things, you had mentioned Guy Kowalski, that, one of the marketing people that I follow. And interestingly enough, he's just going on, and I haven't really been able to pinpoint any specific schedule that he uses. He's got such a large following. If he goes online, people just show up.
Right.
But we'll get to more of it later. But for those of us that are just starting out to develop a following, it's much better to have a regular time and a consistent time that you show up. But Guy can do whatever he wants to do. Mari can do whatever she wants to do. But, he's using it as a question and answer forum. So he'll go live. He'll be, the one I watched the other day was sitting at his kitchen table, and he just said, okay, well, what do you want to know? And people just started typing in questions. So he just started answering the ones that he felt like answering.
It's funny. I was on that live broadcast, and I found that to be sort of a little, maybe not awkward, but I wasn't really feeling the connection. I felt like the guy was just under just under a barrage of questions, and it didn't really let him be Guy. But of course, like you say, he can do anything you want. But I feel like, yeah, you can do a Q&A, but it's really great if you can decelerate the speed, so that you can just really be there with your people. And one of the questions that we're going to have is, those of us that are new to the live feed, are we going to be looking at the chat box? Are we going to be paying attention to the technology, or are we going to be there? So it may be that we kind of have to figure out a way to say, okay, I'm going to check the chat in a little bit, but right now I just want to keep going, so that you're not discombobulated all the time.
Right. And you pace yourself. And speaking of that, I just looked down at the chat. Michelle, to answer your question, it's Guy Kowalski.
Here, I'll type that in for you. And it's probably at Guy Kowalski.
Probably so. He's done other ones too that I've seen where really interesting ones where he does behind the scenes. He's, works in high tech, obviously, lives in the Silicon Valley in California. So he goes to these huge technology events, and he goes backstage and he shows you how they set everything up.
That's cool.
One that really was astounding to me was a room where they had to set up, I don't know, I think it was 6 rows of folding tables, and each of them were covered with laptops.
Oh,
and
very
this was
cool.
before
It's
the people that were using them showed up. This was just hooking them up and showing where the wires were and stuff. So that, geeking me loved that. But I've also seen, rock stars do before the show. I'm about to go on stage, but I want to show you my backstage crew, or look at our video feed.
And think about what that does. It's just like, it's me and you. Yeah. Here I am, Springsteen, with 60,000 people in the audience. But for this one moment, hey, it's the boss,
It's just me.
I had bananas for breakfast, or whatever he wants to say. You just get to be you. And so that brings back to, I think, a big piece of all of this and why it's so powerful. We've been talking about authenticity and being real, but when our customers work with us, they don't want that. Just like you said earlier, Marcia, they don't want that kind of ivory tower, imperfect, paragon of awesomeness up there. They want a real, relatable people that puts his socks on just like we do in the morning. And that includes whatever foibles happen to you. But our clients want us to be relatable. They want to say, oh yeah, I got that. So that's another reason why, if you screw up, if things happen, just before we went live, Marcia's camera fell off the computer. So stuff like this, it's just part of live streaming. Oh, I was supposed to tell you that part.
I didn't think anyone was going to know about it but you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Okay.
thing. You get to share this experience with someone, or some ones, hopefully lots of ones. And I think people also really love to know, be in the know. What's the newest thing, the latest thing? So if you have, those
Right.
kinds of tips and strategies that are hot off the press,
Sure.
love it. I mean, that's why, our news organizations have jumped on the bandwagon with Facebook Live dramatically. They're using it
Sure.
for all the morning shows. CNN's on it. You've got people on every corner of the earth actually going Facebook Live for news too.
Right. The other great use that I've seen people do it is they're showing demos. Like I just looked at one the other day where someone's showing how to put on a temporary tattoo. And if that's your business, that's perfect.
It is.
Right? Or if you're a health coach and you want to just, chop up something yummy and throw it in the blender and just take people along with you. It's a great way to just kind of create those. I mean, we're talking about how to use Facebook Live for your business, ways to monetize it, but really the underlying level of building that relationship where people want to hang out with you. That's really what it's all about. Because later on, excuse me, you can point them and say, if you want to find out more, go to my website. I've got, free blab tips for you up there, which I do. So you want to be kind of organic and loose. But the other thing that I was thinking of when you were just talking about that is that people like to go with you. So if you're going to some sort of big event, I've got a friend that pays attention to all the Apple, the new Apple releases, to do a live feed while you're doing that. It's like, oh my God, they just did this thing with the iPhone. It's now fully recyclable. They've got a robot that takes apart the iPhone so that when you upgrade, your stuff won't go into the landfill. It's like, so then you're not only being there with them, you're bringing your people with you, and you're showing up as a thought leader.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to just revisit to say, hello, everybody. We're glad you're here. We're talking about Facebook Live here on Blab today. We've got 2 open seats. Feel free to jump in to ask any questions or throw questions over there in the chat box. And if you type that's a great question, Margot. If you type a \Q, that'll throw into, is it /Q? Let me try again. All right, it's supposed to go over there to the other side, but just let us know if you've got a question over there in the chat box. Marcia Margot is asking, when is the best time to Facebook Live?
Yes, I saw that. It's such a great question. And it totally depends on your audience. There are not any best times. And I'll tell you why.
It's like a commute.
I know. With Facebook Live, it's basically what you're doing is you're creating a post on your timeline. It's just that it's a live video. You're not typing it or putting in a photo or, whatever else that you care to put in for your post. So, Facebook has its own matrix built into that to analyze who's watching it, how many people have liked it, how many people have shared it, so on and so forth. And with the video, it has a whole new robust set of features that are going to track, well, they already are, they're tracking the audience. When do they come in? When do they go out? How long did they stay engaged on the video? Things like that. I have to go into my notes because we're going to get into that a little bit later. But it's more important for you to take a look at that and then base your timing on your own matrix than for me to tell you when to do it. Right. I know what's working for me because I've been looking at my numbers and I've been checking to know when my audience is around. And so I can pretty well target. I'm not a marketing expert, but I know enough to be able to do things pretty well. So
those metrics that show up on your live feed after you've done that let you figure out what's been happening. And we'll get into this later too, but you can also edit that feed once it goes into a static mode onto your Facebook feed.
Right. So I was just looking at my notes, and it's, how long does it take people to tune into a live broadcast? How many viewers on a broadcast at its peak? And how many viewers are staying? And when are they dropping off? And the features are called peak concurrent viewers and viewers during live broadcast. So
Excellent.
hope that'll help you out.
So let's jump over to the next thing that we wanted to talk about, which is, why is Facebook Live so valuable to your business? We've touched on some of this, but this is a game-changing platform. Live streaming is in general. And for those of you who are new to live streaming, we're going to just say again, it's like having your own personal TV station. I know that some of you on this call have been on BVN Media. Hello, Michelle. But this lets all of us be in control of our own, we're a transmission tower. So we just have to figure out how we want to put that to work. Like any other social media tool, we have to be strategic with Facebook Live. We have to have an end goal in mind before we go on, so that we know why we're doing that. You don't want to go in there and just start rambling on, because people will leave.
Right. And I think with Facebook, you always have to realize that it's a great fun tool and people are excited and we're all doing it. Well, you know why? Because Facebook wants to make more money. I mean, it's never just a gift. We're getting it for free right now, but we're getting it for free because Facebook sees an opportunity to make money with it. So
right.
When they first rolled it out last summer, they made sure that people who were extremely famous were using it first.
Or successful, or they knew how to actually take advantage of this technology.
Right. And just,
Right.
rolled it out slowly but surely to the wee folks. We all managed to get it after the first of the year. And so it was building an audience of people, from the big part of the funnel, bringing it down to us. But what it does is, when a video is live in the feed, it's got a new algorithm that will put at the top of your news feed, or the top of the news feed of your viewers, so that they'll all see it right away. And the idea is that if they start conversing with you, through typing messages, sharing it, making any kind of comment, or, giving you a big smiley face or a heart, all of that ranks it up even higher in the news feed and keeps it there.
Right, because Facebook wants us to engage with relevant, active content.
Right.
So
that's where they throw the ads in. And you're going to start seeing a lot more advertising around it at the same time, because that's where they're making their money.
Absolutely. And as we all need to know this, because Facebook is rolling this out and it wants it to succeed. And like Marcia said, it gave it to some advanced users who can help promote this. Facebook is pushing this out at 10 times the reach of a normal post. So it is giving you a free ride. You've got the tide behind you right now. So if you do a Facebook Live broadcast, it is going to send it out into everybody else's feed at 10 times the rate of a normal post. So, with the wind is in our sails right now, folks, time to jump in and start flying.
Really? I mean, what organic reach, right?
Right. So you and I looked at something that was so cool yesterday. I can't even imagine. And I don't know that if we can do this. We can't show this on the blab right now, but Marcia, tell people about the great map that you showed me yesterday. And
right.
Maybe while you're at home, you can open up your own Facebook feed on your desktop and take a look at this. It's down in that side window where the groups are shown.
Right. So if you guys, any of you that are near your computer and can look at this, you can look away from us for a couple of minutes, go to your Facebook feed. And on the left-hand side is where there's that column that has the list of all the Facebook groups you belong to, all the apps you've downloaded, all of that sort of stuff. And under the apps, right under that is an app called Live Video. And if you click on that, that takes you to a page that shows you a map of the world with little blue dots where anyone is going live on Facebook.
So if anybody can see that right now, if you popped out of this window and opened up another one to see your Facebook feed, just shoot us a message in the text to let us know that you can see the map.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It reminds me a lot of when Google Earth first came out, and it was like, oh my God, I can go to the Eiffel Tower,
right, the pyramids.
The pyramids.
So the other cool thing about that,
is that so cool?
Right.
People are seeing
left
it.
of that map, you see all of those thumbnails of live feeds going on. Basically, what they've done is put a collection of the best live feeds in the past 24 hours, and they're all sitting right there at your fingertips. So you can go and check out any of them, see what people are doing, and see if there's any content similar to what you want to be sharing or something you want to learn about.
Or just someplace you want to go. Like last night, I was looking on it. It's like, ooh, I've got friends in Denmark. What's happening over there? Click, here I am. So this is just to tell people you have a global audience. So when we're all trying as business owners to think bigger and hold a different vision, a bigger vision for where we're going, this is a really great place to do that. Just know that you're talking to people anywhere in the world. Steve, were you able to find that? Because I know that you were having trouble finding that map. So not yet. Okay. Marcia, is there any kind of clarification we can give Steve as far as where the live feed was in the Facebook? I don't know that I can find it on my phone.
On your, I think you need to be on your personal page as opposed to your business page. Right. And on the left-hand side, there's all of the applications, all of the groups that you're a member of. They're all listed over there.
You know what? I'm also on the trying to find that on my phone. I'm not seeing this on my phone, Steve. So
it's not on your phone. It's only on desktop.
Oh, only there we go.
Not see it on your phone.
It's really fun though. Okay, so while you guys are playing with that, I want to talk to you a little bit more about after this organic reach. What do you do with this feed? Which is ironic since you broadcast from. Okay, yeah. So you've got a treat waiting for you, Steve, is all I can say. So what do you do with this video once you've done it? So we've talked about the reach that Facebook is boosting you with. They are throwing all of their technology behind you to help you succeed while you're live. Once that feed is over and you've finished it, it now just gets embedded in your Facebook feed, just like any other post that you've done. You can go back into it afterwards and you can do some basic editing, just like you can edit any other kind of post. You know, sometimes when you go to YouTube and you'll get like 10 little images that you can pick as the cover for your video. So you can change that. You can, so you're not like frozen in time like this. You can make it something that's a little more attractive. Or you can also change the description. You can add a call to action to the actual description. And there's some buttons that give you calls to action. I haven't gone to play with those yet, but you'll find out more. So the other thing that's super great about Facebook live feeds once they're in your feed is that when people go to your live broadcast, they're going to go back to your page and they're going to scroll down through your feed. So the content that you've got in there for months or years gets refreshed because they're seeing it for the first time. So that adds all sorts of value all by itself. Your content gets a new life.
It really does. And I think, with anything that you're doing in your marketing plan, you always want to think about repurposing content. If you're doing it the right way, you don't just write a blog. You write a blog that you take quotes from and you make posts on your social media from it. You maybe create a video around it. I mean, you really need to look at it in a holistic way. And I think
in a strategic way. So you're
very strategic. Yeah. So you want to, give thought to it. You don't want to just go live for the sake of going live. You definitely want to.
Okay. So Marcia, you're looking at something up there on your screen, and I want to jump into another little piece of this, which is super exciting. Marcia's a video expert. She's helping people get comfortable on video. And I know we've got Michelle online here today too. And Michelle, if you want to jump in and add to this, please jump into that hot seat. But here's what's cool about those of us who are not video pros. I would kind of do anything to not be on video. It's awkward. It's like, can you see my But here's the thing about getting out there in the world on Facebook Live. It gives you that practice to speak off the cuff extemporaneously. And all the things that you just hate about what you look or whatever, if that's going on for you, all the little judgy things that are going on in the back of your head, you kind of have to get over them. And if we've seen people out there who've been doing a Periscope or a live broadcast every day. And when you do that, lots of great things happen. The things that you were all worried about, they get a lot less important. All the tongue-tiedness, and the little, the filler words that we, they start to die down, and you get more clear on what you're saying and who you're speaking to. So your message solidifies, and that strengthens your brand and your whole online presence. I think that's super cool. And plus the fact there's that bit about, Yeah, Margot, people really like reality TV. Yep, that's us. the new reality cast. But the thing too is like all of us as business owners, we know that it, increases our reach and our impact exponentially when we speak live, in front of different audiences. So what better place to practice this? So those of us who are used to like getting it together on video, this is another place to practice that presence. So,
and on a practical level, if you're planning on doing something more formal with video, there's no reason you can't go on Facebook Live and just test out pieces of it. Like maybe you have a webinar coming up, you've got a big launch you're going to be doing next month, but you're not quite confident about how you're presenting elements of it. You could come in and just do 20 minutes on Facebook Live on one topic area just to work through that verbiage and to get comfortable so that you're not so, stiff on camera when you go to do, your big push.
How a lot of us are building online programs, and, the basic gist is sell it and then build it. So if we're doing a live broadcast, we can also get feedback from our ideal clients, live. Just ask them, Jane, I know that you're looking at sort of expanding your own program, and it's like, okay, do you just do it on your business page then, or in a group? Both. You can do it anywhere that you can be on Facebook. I'd start with your business page and then share it out to your personal page. But so Jane, you were talking about doing a webinar. There's that whole thing about prepping, getting all your script down. But in a live broadcast, you just create a loose structure, some questions, and then you can go for it and talk to your people that you think might be interested in this new program and get some feedback from them. So, and if you want to talk about, your topic in a new way, this is a terrific place to try it out. It's like, all right, we're at the top of the Empire State Building and we're talking about, death and dying or live video or whatever else we're doing. So that wasn't a connection there. Live streaming moment.
Yes. So I want to go back to a point that a couple of people were asking about. On a technical level, when you record your Facebook Live, I mean, when you go live with your Facebook Live, it records it automatically and then saves it as a post wherever it is that you have done this. Now you can originate your broadcast from your personal page, you can do it from your business page, and you can do it within groups. So there are three very different audiences that you could potentially touch with a live broadcast. So you really have to figure out who's that you want to talk to, before you decide where you want to originate that production. Now, some of us have private Facebook groups that we use for our clients for different programs that we offer, and they're excellent to be able to broadcast just to that little portion of your tribe and to talk about the different elements of that program. And it's not something that you would want to have broadcast all over the internet. Whereas, if you're talking about a launch of a new program, or you're talking about, the question and answer form that we were mentioning before, or you're demonstrating a product, you would want as wide an audience as you could get, and you want it to be branded by your business. So you would want that to originate on your business page. And if you're doing something just for the fun of it, you're at a family reunion this summer and a couple people couldn't make it, and you want to be sure everyone in the neighborhood sees it, why do that on your own personal page. But the beauty of all of it is that it gets recorded, and then you can share it anywhere, just like any other post. So you can put it into, if you do it on your business page, you can then, share it onto your personal page. You can share it on Twitter, on other social media platforms, and you can also take the time to edit the written content that you have around that post once it's recorded. So if you want to share a link that you mention while you're live, but you can't actually type in and have it on the screen, you can type that in with an explanation on your post. So there's all kinds of great ways of doing that. You can tag so that, you make sure that that extends the reach of it as well.
Mhm.
So there's no one size fits all with this stuff. This is something that you can, and that's the beauty of it. You can customize it so that you can get as close to your potential client as you possibly can. Does that make sense?
It's a series of I'm going to bring on Michelle here to talk to us in a minute. So it's a series of experiments. Just try it out, see what happens. Michelle Moreno, glad you're here. I'd like you to introduce yourself and say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I am Michelle Moreno, and I have a program called On Camera Confidence.
So what I'd love for you to do is I'd love for you to share your definition of presence, because all of us need to bring this to not just video, but certainly live broadcast.
Absolutely, because I have a background as an actress and an entertainer, I've had to work on presence a lot, especially to work up to going on camera under a very high pressure situation, like on network television, for example.
Sure.
And I didn't start off being present. I started off with a lot of fails, but eventually got there. But my definition of presence is being connected to the emotions and actions of others while being fully free to express yourself.
Right. So we've been talking about being there with and for our people. Wow, I just got a weird echo. Sorry.
She has her speaker on.
Oh, who does? Michelle? Oh, yeah. There we go. Can you turn off your speaker? That would be great.
Oh, yeah. Let me get the headphones.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, we want to be present for our people. I mean, that's kind of who we are as a business and a brand. We want to be right there. So we're not just speaking to the camera, we're speaking to our people. And I think that's one of the things that live broadcasting is even better than video, because you're getting the feedback like you're giving us right now, all of you who are on this call. So, but Michelle, I'd love for you to speak another minute about kind of like what speaking extemporaneously does for your own confidence and your own clarity of message.
Well, when it comes to speaking impromptu, and I've been watching a lot of these Facebook Lives, and I will say I really appreciate both Marsha and Bryn's stillness of camera, because I see a lot of people doing Facebook Live and they're setting up their camera when they start. And I think that's a big mistake.
What do you mean? They're still getting ready when
they're still like they're going like this, and so they're like putting the phone in place, and this is what the podcast starts like, and they're not in the light, and then finally they get it together and then they start.
Well, and there's also the people that sit there and hold their camera, and here you got this wobbly thing going the whole time. I don't like it.
I don't like it, and I appreciate that you and Marsha are such pros, and I think there's something to learn from that, because you only have about maybe 5 seconds to convince someone that you're someone to listen to. And while, yes, we want imperfection and authenticity, I think having a still camera that's already in place with the good lighting is a place to start. Marsha, what do you think?
Absolutely. And just be sure that if you do drop your camera, you do it before everyone gets on the call.
So, Marsha, you had a few more tips about, pieces of equipment that people can use. Yes, we're just using our own little TV station, but there are things to boost that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I just kind of got out my toys so that I could show folks, but I think it's critical that you do keep that phone stable. It drives me nuts. So there are all kinds of great stuff on the market, like this little tripod here. It's got little legs that bend out. I think Bryn's going to get out her GorillaPod. You see it's got a mount that you fit your smartphone on, and it holds it nice and stable. A lot of people have a selfie stick, even if it's in a closet, they haven't been using it, get it out. If you're even just holding it with that, it provides a great level of stability.
Right.
Much greater than if you're just holding it with your hand, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, lighting is critical. I mean, I could shut the light off that I have here in my room and it would be a completely dark room. I have one light that's just on me so that I'm the subject. I mean, you obviously can see my filing cabinet behind me, but you're not going to be that compelled to watch that because I'm so much more compelling. But, there are all kinds of neat little LED lights that you can clip onto your phone and you've got like a little, we used to call it electronic news gathering, ENG systems, where you have the camera and a shotgun microphone and a light all.
So it's a little
together,
mini kit, huh?
And you're right there. You're good to go. And then, if you're going to be using your phone and you have it propped up and you're standing a distance away from it, further than about an arm's length, you got to watch about the audio, because the sound quality does not equal the camera quality on our smartphones unless you're right on it. So you might want to think about getting something like a lavalier microphone, one of these little clip-on doohickeys. They also make cute little shotgun microphones. They're about this long. They plug into your headphone jack, and they are highly directional. So if you point them in the direction of where you're standing, it'll pick up your voice really well.
And I think our earbuds are, these have really good audio.
Yep.
So, along the lines of audio, for those of us who aren't pros, like Marsha and Michelle, we have to pay attention to the ambient sound. So whether that's even something like, I'm a little hot and I was going to turn on that fan, but that's going to distort the audio. Just, leaf blowers in the background, wind in the trees, cars, the baby that you don't really want people to hear. I have a dog that's a terrible snorer, and he's being quiet today, but you want to, don't distract your viewers with bad audio, because just like Michelle said, they're going to leave.
Right. And pay attention to your background. I was watching, and I think they were on a Google Hangout about 6 months ago, one of these marketing experts that I follow. And I was multitasking, I'll admit that. I was doing some things, but I was watching the webinar and, trying to pick up some new insight from this guy. And all of a sudden, in the background, he had, doors that had window panes in them so you could see into the rest of the house, and they were cracked open a little bit. And here comes a dog, a very big dog. And the dog kind of went out, and then the dog came back in.
Yeah, so it's just like these distractions.
He didn't even know it. It just cracked me up. But those are the kind of things you need to think about.
So, Bryn, I wanted to answer your question about, I didn't mean to ignore about improv speaking. When you're going to go on Facebook Live and show your expertise, if you haven't prepared anything, I do think it is a good idea to go ahead and take notes and perhaps have 3 bullet points of education that matters to your clients. But Absolutely. If you don't, and you're really just going off the cuff, number 1, speak about something that you are an expert in. But number 2, always practice speaking when you're not on camera, when you're washing dishes, or when you're speaking with a friend. Practice so that when you do come under circumstances where there's some pressure, you are able to speak off the cuff. But the 2 other ways to get present that I always use, obviously I do deep breathing. I breathe in and breathe out, and I place myself in the present space where I'm in. But secondly, I take my negative self-talk, which is the conversation that I have with myself that might plant doubt.
I think none of us have any idea what you're talking about on that.
And I take that and I put it in the back seat, or I put it in a box, and I say, right now is not the time for that conversation. I need to turn my thoughts into action here. And these thoughts and conversation that I'm having with myself isn't working. So I usually try to clear that out. And then I also try to clear, and this is really important for speaking extemporaneously, clear out my fear of judgment from others. Because
especially with live streaming.
Especially with live streaming. And just focus on speaking to one person. So it's a conversation with just one person. Take the fear of judgment from others and put it in the backseat. It's still going to be there. It's still going to go on the ride with you. But consciously say, right now is not the time for you to be in the driver's seat. Right now I need to express myself with ideas that matter to my clients.
Yeah,
that's a focus on the client that you're serving, the individual that you're serving.
That's a great point. And I'll be honest with you, today I've been talking to you, Jane, because I feel like you've got so much potential about where you're going with your program. And I know this live, energetic thing that you are, being that you are, is going to be really attractive on live broadcasting. I want to answer one question that somebody had up in the feed. What's the difference between Facebook Live and Blab? The biggest difference is that we're all here together. I can have a conversation with even one more person. So if somebody wants to jump in that last hot seat, I feel like, it's like the Hollywood Squares thing or the Brady Bunch, and we can all talk to each other. So, and there's this live chat feed that's going on this side. I like to be in conversation with people, so this is a good platform for me. The other difference is that Facebook Live embeds your video once it's shot into your feed, and Blab gives you a link to that video so you can embed it anywhere you want. You can embed it in your feed or on your website. You can repurpose this in a number of ways. So I'm going to be repurposing this Blab feed, and I'll be putting it on my website so you can go ahead and see yourselves on there too. The one thing that it doesn't get is that chat feed. So, and before I go much further, I want to just type in, I want to just show you one other thing about Facebook Live and Blab, is that you can type links into the chat box that people can click and go to. So you can find me at mindsparkbranding.com, and you're welcome to go there and get my free Blab tips on how to get started for yourself on Blab. There's plenty of material in there that's going to be perfect for Facebook Live and any of the other fields too. And Marcia, do you want to go ahead and okay, so Marcia's at Mindful Media Services. So this feed, you can scroll up and down the feed to get to anywhere you want, and you can go ahead and find us there if you want more information. Michelle, thank you so much for jumping in there and talking to us about this. Now, just as a note on Blab, I can kick Michelle out, but she kicked herself out. I wasn't going to.
Do it.
So if anybody else wants to jump in that hot seat and ask us questions, we're here to help you today. For you just joining us, we're talking about Facebook Live. I'm Bryn Bruner from MindSpark Branding with my co-host, Marcia O'Malley of Mindful Media Services. So the other thing that I think we should get to is let's get to how do you do this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to jump in there, or you want me to
Oh,
keep going?
yeah. I thought maybe you were going to start talking about it. I think there are a couple of things to keep in mind, like we've been stressing all along. Do a Facebook Live with intention and with purpose. Know why you're going to go live. Be sure that you have, you don't need to write out a script beforehand, but you need to know, the main bullet points of what you're going to be talking about.
Sure.
And also frame it as a presentation. Start out by introducing yourself and letting people know right away what it is you're going to be talking about, because your audience is going to come and go really fast on Facebook. So you've got to capture them right away. Right. So if they don't know why, and you're going on and on with, a long talk about how great you are, wonderful you are, that's not going to help. You just need to, be able to capture their attention, let them know why you're an expert and what you're going to be talking about and what you're going to share, and then dive right in.
And what you're diving right into is stuff that they care about. Mm-hmm. So none of us want to go on and on ever about not just ourselves, but anything. Once we start droning, you can kiss them goodbye. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to broadcast live, come out quick with a tip that's easy, actionable, something they can put to work right away. So they want to stick around. It's like, oh, that worked. Because all of us are saying we have limited time. What's in this for me? Why should I stick around? Why should I care? It's not enough that we're experts. There's an expert on every corner. So be there in service to your people, and you can really amplify the conversation.
Right. And it's your opportunity to show what makes you unique, from the whole crowd that's doing the same kind of work you're doing.
Right. Don't just be there. Be somebody unique.
Right. Be who you are. Looking at my notes here to make sure I don't skip over anything. I think it's real important when you go live you have to be able to pay attention to your audience. So if you've got people posting messages, you need to acknowledge them. As they come in, you need to acknowledge them. And I think it's real important to do it by name. Bryn's been doing a fabulous job on this Blab, and you need to mirror that kind of action, because that is going to keep people listening.
We're just chatting. We're just chatting with our friends. So if our friends come into the room, we can say, hey, Bob, how's it going?
Exactly.
So,
And I think it's important too, because people do come in and out. You need to be aware that you have to reintroduce what you're talking about. Share the context of your talk a couple of times. Reintroduce yourself, and just do that, maybe every 5 minutes or so.
And we've had people popping in and out of this blab the whole time.
Right.
So that's exactly right. So people are going to come by just like they're walking down the street and they poke in the window or like, what's happening here?
Right. Right.
So the other thing that I want to say along those lines is, I say this to in the Blab Lab and also for Facebook Live, go check it out. Before you start doing this, go look at something. Watch what people are doing. Watch what works and what doesn't work. You can hear the problems that they have and you can not do them. So, don't go into this a rookie. Go into this prepared by understanding the community that each one of these platforms serves. Some of the lingo that they use, like in Periscope, they talk about scoping. So, I've coined a term called blabinars. So, be familiar with the terrain before you jump in there. So it's all part of being prepared. We've been talking about speaking extemporaneously, but we're not doing this blind. We are prepared. Marcia and I both have notes. We can take a look down there every now and then because we don't want to get stuck and we don't want to waste your time.
Exactly. And Michelle's just asked a really good question. Is there a place to put text that summarizes your topic so that you can do that? No. But what people are doing that is really cute is that they're writing little notes and holding them up to the screen. So
actually, Marcia, I think this might be a simpler question. Yes, you can put text that summarizes the topic in your update. This is where you put the
recorded. Yeah.
Actually, before I'm going live, like when I go live, it says, what are you talking about? So you can pick a title that's strategic and targeted to what your people want, obviously, and what you're talking about. But yeah, you can't. I mean, that's the description, just right there in your status update.
Right. But I think she was asking as you go along, because I was saying you need to reintroduce it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely, that title is key, you guys. Before you go live, it's going to ask you to type in, a little description title. And that's where you can use your keywords. You can, really, that's what's going to capture your audience. They're going to see that and think, oh, that sounds pretty interesting. Let's see what this is about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to, so you're going to write a title in that description and this is going to grab people. This is your hook. So again, it's not talking about what you want to talk about. You're talking about what your people are interested in. What's in it for them? What's going to further their business? What's going to boost their success? This is all about all of our people. And Jane, you asked a question earlier about when do you do this? And, is there a better time or a worse time to have a Facebook Live? That's up to you and sort of your field. I know that you're over in Scotland, so you've been doing a good job about juggling time frames. And I think you just do that. But you're going to want to promote it and schedule it just like anything else. A blab, you can actually schedule ahead of time and then people can subscribe to it. Another thing that you might think about with the Facebook Live is while you're live, you can say, hey, if you like what you're seeing here, just hit the subscribe button and then that'll let you know when I'm live again. Okay. So you talked about the gear. Let's talk about the length of an optimal length of a Facebook Live broadcast.
That was just about where I was going to go there. I think the basic principle that people are sharing right now is that the longer you're on, the better, because it's going to give an opportunity for you to build that audience. So it's not a platform to go on for 2 minutes and then say, okay, see you later. You really want to provide quality content, and you want to be able to bring people in so that they will start coming to watch you over time. They'll come back. They'll visit you again.
And basically, it's like be on long enough for people to find you.
Yeah.
We've had people popping in and out of this blab all morning. We've been almost on for an hour, and people sometimes just discover you. So it's like be on long enough to be relevant to them.
Exactly.
But the other thing that goes into this is the entire time that you're live on Facebook Live, Facebook is boosting you into everybody else's feed. So take advantage of that free, turbocharging that Facebook's giving us to be on long for that to matter. I went on live just before the blab to say, I'm live talking about Facebook Live. So come and find us. So there's places that you can do a short one just as like a quick commercial, you know, or just to say, I'm letting y'all know this is this cool thing that's about to happen. So people like to know.
I think that's good. And I think getting back to that question again of when do you post it? When do you actually go live? And I think a good way to start out is to look at, the posts that you have done in the past and when have they performed the best, and start with that and see if that makes sense.
And don't get too scared of it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal when you decide. You just got to get out and start doing it and get used to yourself messing up a little bit and feeling better. And, I think Michelle brought up something that I just love about her work, which is be in your environment. Bring people in. Good morning. I'm in Central Park and it's a gorgeous day. And here we are talking about da-da-da. So be in the room, the physical space that you're in, instead of be surprised by whatever might be going on around you. That'll also engage people and bring them with you.
And I think especially for the first ones you do, screw the metrics. Just get out there and do it. If you do have a beautiful summer day and you're walking along the river and you just feel inspired, to share some information, get your phone out and do it.
Right.
Get your selfie stick out with your phone and do it. But, don't be afraid to experiment like that. I mean, I've done a whole bunch of live feeds now at all sorts of odd times. I've been at networking events, big dinner event we had about a month and a half ago, did like 4 different live feeds at different times during that event. I've done, like Bryn did this morning, I was actually making my tea right before the blab, so I didn't get a chance to go live, but I was going to. But, just go on for a couple minutes and say, hey, it's coming up. We're going to have, this and that is going on. Please join us.
And just like, one of my, I have several clients that are speakers, and speakers, we always talk about a warm audience, and a warm audience are people that are here and they really want you to succeed. They're pulling for you. They're in your corner. So if you're just starting out, bring a warm audience along with you. And that's part of this transparency thing. Just say, hey, I've never done this live broadcasting thing. And frankly, I kind of feel like I'm going to throw up. So would you join me? And I just, it's going to help a lot just to have you there. And that'll make you just relax. Because after all, you're just sitting here talking to your friends.
Exactly.
And the other thing that I wanted to say about, broadcasting at different times and in different places, this is good, but always be casting what you're saying through the lens of your brand. Why are you here? How do you serve your people? So your messaging will be consistent and coherent if it's always shot through that lens of why I'm here to help you, instead of just, well, here's what's going on today, and hey, the fish are jumping. So there's enough random noise going on online right now that we don't need to add to it. So be consistent and coherent, and then go along, and they'll say, oh yeah, that's Marcia. She's talking about that, blah, blah, blah. And, so that's how we can help our people help us.
There she is again. So we're kind of coming to the end of the hour here, Bryn. What do we need to cover right away before people have to...
That's a good question. And on one of the last things I've got on is when you're doing a live broadcast, you want to say hello at the beginning and you want to say goodbye at the end. And at the end, this is a good time to add your call to action. We talked about after this goes embedded into your feed, you can type in and change the text and add a call to action. But you also want to be able to do it easily here. Like, if you like what you're seeing here, come and check me out at mindsparkbranding.com. I've got free blab tips for anybody that's interested in getting into live broadcasting. And if, I've known other people that have directed people, like if you've liked what you've seen here, I've got a webinar coming up next Thursday. So know ahead of time what your strategic goal is. My goal today was to just have fun with Marcia and talk to people about something I'm really excited about. And the implications of live broadcasting to the building of our brand and our business is huge. So I'm excited about it. I just wanted to bring you all along.
Absolutely. And I think with every good call to action, that builds around whatever message and intention that you have for that Facebook Live event. or for any event like today. And likewise, from what Bryn said, we're here because we really wanted to share this information. We are so excited about using the technology. We're playing with it ourselves to see how it works, see what will really boost our business with it. But we want to be sure that everybody we know, gets to know it as well as we do, or even
Plus,
better.
we're still in this bubble. We are early adapters. Maybe this is the first time in my life I've been an early adapter on anything, but there's a time that it's a forgiving medium. You get to go in and screw up and experiment and try again and see what works for you, see what works for your people, and just try it out. So
Yes.
Have fun. I know, right? We've
Getting
never
out
been
my
early
selfie
adopters.
stick right now. I love it. Never an early adopter
So,
ever.
Let's
Well-
open it up to more questions that are coming in. Come on, people. Ask us anything you
Please
want.
do.
Did we
And I
miss
just want,
anything about the technology? I'll let Marcia cover that.
right. Please jump in, ask your question. But I also want you guys to know, I put together a little tip sheet that I call the 7 tips to get comfy on camera. And it's available on the homepage of my website. If you go to my URL, we're coming down to the end of an hour of talking too much. My website homepage, you can download it from there.
I've also just put in both of our emails if you want to find us
I
for
appreciate that.
any reason and talk about video or talk about branding or talk about live streaming. Thank you all so much for being a part of the Blab Lab today. Marcia, I'm glad to have you here co-hosting with
Thank you.
me.
This is great.
And we are thrilled to have you all join us. So have a wonderful day and go out and make some videos. And when you do, send us jump onto Facebook and let us know about it because we want to see all of you succeed. Thanks,
Yes.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.